Mr. Speaker, sir.
Please sit down. Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Dr. Godswill Obot Apabio, GCON, ably represented by the Chairman, Senate Committee on Special Duties, my dear brother, distinguished Senator Kakashihu, SAN. My dear wife, the First Lady of the House of Representatives, Hajia Fatima Tajudeen, Your Excellency, the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezi Kalu, CON, my dear brother, my partner, to whom I'm so pleased and so proud of, who incidentally is also the chairman on the review of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Committee of the House, the leader of the House of Representatives and the vice chairman, House of Representatives Committee on the review of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Right Honorable Professor Julius Ehovery, OAN. The principal officers of the House of Representatives here present, the former presiding officers, I see our former Deputy Speaker, the chairperson of the Wives of Executive Governors here present, my dear sister, the Prof, former executive governors here present, the Speaker of the Parliament of Tanzania, Right Honorable Dr. Tulia Ackson, and my dear sister from the Parliament of South Africa, you're most welcome. Members of the Federal Executive Council present here, members of the Diplomatic Corps and development partners present here, civil society organizations, all women representatives here present, members of the press, and more importantly, to complete this long protocol, I would like to recognize the representative of the Conference of Speakers of States House of Assembly, our dear Speaker of Ekiti State House of Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. It is an honor to welcome you all to this vital dialogue on advancing women's representation within our governance structure. I extend my gratitude to the organizers for the invitation to deliver this keynote address. I would like to particularly commend my deputy, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezi Kalu, CON, Chairman of the House Committee on Constitution Amendment, and all members of his committee whose dedication has made this gathering possible. Today represents a meaningful step forward in our collective commitment to inclusive governance and national progress. I also recognize and deeply appreciate the distinguished women leaders from across Nigeria, as well as esteemed representatives from national parliaments in Africa and international organizations, whose presence enriches this gathering. Honorable colleagues, distinguished guests, we gather here not for rhetoric, but to establish a clear and actionable path towards meaningful reform. Our goal is to ensure that Nigerian women, an essential part of our nation's social and economic fabric, secure their rightful place within our governance framework. Empowering women is not only a moral and democratic imperative, but also a strategic economic necessity. Research from global institutions, including the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, shows that organizations and countries benefit from better decision-making, stronger economic growth, and enhanced social well-being when women hold leadership roles. Women bring unique perspectives, influencing vital issues, from healthcare to economic policy, creating legislation that resonates with millions. McKinsey estimates that closing gender gaps could add as much as $12 trillion to the global GDP by 2025, underscoring the immense untapped potential of women's inclusion. Thus, increased representation of women is not a luxury, but a necessity for sustainable national development and stability. Around the world, and particularly in Africa, we see encouraging examples of gender inclusion. Rwanda, with over 60% women representation in its parliament, has shown us that robust, intentional policies work. South Africa, Namibia, and Senegal all have taken significant strides towards inclusivity, reshaping their political landscapes in ways Nigeria can learn from. These countries have demonstrated the profound impact of women's perspective in governance and development. For Nigeria, the current numbers are disheartening. Since 1999, women's representation in our National Assembly has remained disappointingly very low. Despite notable contributions from Nigerian women across various sectors, only 20 of the 469 seats in our National Assembly are today occupied by women. This stark gap speaks not of a lack of capable women, but of institutional barriers we must all work to dismantle. Some view increased women's representation as a threat to the status quo. But ladies and gentlemen, inclusion is not displacement, it is a partnership. Women's presence complements the contributions of men, enriching the policy-making process. If we trust women to shape our homes, nurture our own families, and educate our children, we must also trust them to contribute to shaping our nation's future. Furthermore, action policies to increase women representations are not undemocratic. On the contrary, they are deeply aligned with democratic principles. The Interparliamentary Union and the African Union uphold affirmative action as a mechanism to correct historical inequities, enabling all voices to contribute to a truly representative democracy. The Universal Declaration on Democracy, adopted by the Interparliamentary Union, affirms that democracy thrives where there is a partnership between men and women. This declaration should serve as a guiding principle in our legislative process. As lawmakers, we are responsible for advancing policies that reflect the values of fairness and equity. I am proud to state that this 10th House has prioritized inclusivity in our legislative agenda. I have directed the Constitutional Review Committee to focus on reforms that promote gender equity and provide additional or reserved seats for women in our legislative bodies. We must work towards joint ticketing in elections, reserved seats, and conferring equal citizenship rights to foreigners married to Nigerian women. However, reform is a collective responsibility, and we cannot simply issue communiques or promises. We must translate today's dialogue into real, actionable outcomes. The Constitutional Review Committee has engaged with key institutions, including the judiciary and Conference of Speakers of State Assemblies, and received submissions from citizens and stakeholders across the country. Now we must build on these consultations and rise with actionable models of inclusion that reflects Nigeria's unique context. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a father, a husband, and a committed advocate for gender equity, these cause hold deep personal significance. On October 10th, I vacated my seat in a special House session to Ms. Isabel Anani, a 16-year-old gender equality advocate. This act was more than symbolic. It was a firm declaration of our commitment to valuing voices of Nigeria's young women. Nigeria's demographic realities make this engagement with young people an absolute imperative. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, over 60% of our population is under 25, a statistic that calls us to action. To build a stronger future, we must empower young people, especially women, to participate in policy and decision-making. We must entrust them to represent us, shape policies, and drive our nation forward. This commitment aligns closely with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and the legislative agenda of the House of Representatives. The President, recognizing the potential and energy of our youth, is investing in a national youth conference to create platforms for youth engagement and address their aspirations directly. In support of this vision, the House of Representatives will also host a youth town hall to develop a strategic roadmap for youth inclusion and leadership mentorship. Together, these initiatives reflect a shared determination to harness the capabilities of our young Nigerians, empowering them to actively shape and lead our nation's future. Distinguished participants and invited guests, let us commit to making this event more than just another conversation. Let us ensure that today's outcomes drive real change. Achieving gender equality demands our shared commitment, innovation, and decisive legislative action. In this regard, I make a heartfelt plea to Her Excellency, the First Lady, to lead an advocacy campaign across all 36 states. By engaging state governors, state houses of assembly, and other key stakeholders, we can ensure that the proposed reforms are widely understood and supported at every level, securing the essential votes in our state assemblies to bring these changes to life. In conclusion, I extend heartfelt appreciation to all our partners whose unwavering support has been instrumental to the House of Representatives and the Constitution Amendment Committee. I would particularly like to recognize the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, and the European Union for their strategic support and substantial investment, not only in this critical dialogue, but in the broader mission of advancing and strengthening Nigeria's legislative framework. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.